So everyone's been buzzing about that episode 7 beach scene, right? While all the other characters are having fun together, there's one person who's completely separated from the group. Jax is just sitting there alone, watching from a distance like he's at a party he never wanted to attend. And honestly, there's way more going on here than just him being antisocial. What we're seeing might actually be setting up the biggest character moment in the entire series. Let me break down what's really happening. The first thing that jumps out is how Jax didn't even bother changing into beach clothes. Everyone else got new outfits for this adventure, but he's still wearing his regular getup. That's a huge tell. It means he checked out emotionally before they even got started. The second Kane announced this beach adventure, Jax probably made a beeline straight to that lounge chair, putting as much distance between himself and the others as possible. And look at his body language. He's not just taking a break or being lazy. This is someone who genuinely doesn't want to be there. After what happened in episode 6, Jax clearly needs space. He needs time to process everything, to deal with the fact that he lashed out and showed vulnerability. His defense mechanisms are screaming at him to retreat. Here's the thing though, Kane doesn't care about anyone's feelings or mental health. Everyone participates in his adventures whether they like it or not. So Jax is basically stuck there against his will, which explains why he immediately found the most isolated spot possible. He's doing damage control, trying to avoid any more emotional exposure. Now you might be wondering, why doesn't he just go talk to Pomni? Why not try to explain himself or apologize? Well, this is where Jax's character gets really interesting. Despite his tough guy exterior, he's actually deeply aware of how others perceive him. He knows exactly how he looks from Pomni's perspective, like an arrogant troublemaker who only cares about his own amusement. And even though we understand the pain and fear behind his actions, Pomni doesn't have that context yet. She just sees the jerk. So Jax is paralyzed by fear. He's terrified that approaching Pomni will make things worse, that she'll reject him or confirm his worst fears about himself. Instead, he's hoping she'll come to him first. He's waiting for her to extend an olive branch because he's too scared to risk another emotional blow. But as we can see from the sneak peeks, that's not going to happen. Pomni's busy building a genuine connection with Regatha, finally finding the friend she's been looking for. And Jax? He's just sitting there watching everyone else move forward while he stays stuck. This single shot of isolated Jax tells us that episode 7 is going to be his episode. Think about it. Every other character has had their arc mostly resolved. Gangle and Zubul have formed a real friendship and worked through their personal issues. Kinger's been revealed as this surprisingly wise figure who understands people better than anyone. Pomni has adapted to the circus and stopped obsessing over escape. Regatha is finally learning to drop her fake positivity and be authentic. But Jax, his story is still unfinished. We know he's complicated. We know he pushes people away because he's afraid of losing someone else like he lost his previous friend. But we haven't seen his resolution yet. We haven't seen him break through that protective shell he's built. Episode 7 is going to kick off the main storyline of the series, and Jax is positioned to be at the center of it. The show needs to finally address his trauma, his defense mechanisms, and give him a path forward. Meanwhile, Pomni and Regatha's friendship is going to play a crucial role. Pomni isn't that terrified newcomer anymore. She's grown and adapted. Her focus now is solidifying this friendship with Regatha, who's also going through major changes. Regatha is finally dropping that perpetually cheerful mask and showing her real self. And remember that cryptic thing Regatha said to Jax in episode 5? About what would happen later. There's a dark theory floating around that Jax might have been involved in Kaufmo's abstraction, or even worse, his best friend Ribbit's abstraction. Regatha's fear for Pomni in episode 5 might not have been jealousy. It might have been genuine concern based on knowing Jax's history. I think Regatha is going to tell Pomni the full story about what happened with Jax's past friendships. This will give Pomni the context she needs to understand why he acts the way he does. And that scene from the Favorite Character Awards where Pomni still seems concerned about Jax, that's our hint that she hasn't given up on him. Here's the real concern. Jax is on the edge, not necessarily of abstraction, but of a serious mental breakdown. We've seen him have one panic attack already, and if he continues suppressing everything and pretending to be this carefree troublemaker, it's going to get worse. He's huffed in like a crew. He's trapped in a persona to protect himself, but that persona is destroying him from the inside. He needs to accept reality as it actually is, not the version he's constructed in his head. He needs to stop running from emotional connections and admit that he's hurting. The big question for episode 7 is whether Jax will accept help when Pomni and Regatha reach out to him, or if he'll try to handle everything alone. My guess? He's going to resist at first, but eventually break down and finally let someone in. And we can't ignore Kinger's weird abilities that were revealed recently. Either he's connected to the circus's creation in some way that gives him special powers, or that butterfly incident is going to show everyone that they have way more control over this digital world than they realized. Either way, it's going to impact how Jax's story unfolds. So that isolated shot of Jax at the beach isn't just a throwaway moment. It's a visual metaphor for where he is emotionally right now. Everyone else has found some kind of peace or progress, but Jax is still stuck in that same emotional loop, pretending he's fine while quietly falling apart inside. The show is clearly building towards something big, a moment where Jax will have no choice but to confront everything he's been running from. We're not just looking at another fun episode, we're looking at a possible turning point for the entire series. If Jax finally lets his walls down, it could completely shift the group dynamic and open the door for deeper emotional storytelling. But if he keeps shutting everyone out, we might be witnessing the beginning of his downfall, maybe even something much darker than abstraction itself. Either way, episode 7 feels like the calm before the emotional storm, and Jax is right at the center of it. What do you think is going to happen next? Will Jax finally let Pomni and Regatha in, or will his fear push him over the edge? Do you think Kane will play a role in forcing that confrontation? Let me know your theories down in the comments. I read all of them, and I love seeing how deep this fandom goes. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to catch my next deep dive the moment episode 7 drops, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of my future analyses. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, Digital Circus fans. I'll see you in the next one.